This is your WGBW Daily News Roundup for the Talk of Green Bay, 97.9 FM and 1590 AM.
Civic Media News. I'm Terry Bell. Here's what Wisconsin needs to know. Wisconsin is getting $124 million from the federal government to help people put solar panels on their homes. The money comes from the Inflation Reduction Act. It's part of $7 billion in grants for solar installations announced by President Biden. The money is going to the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation and the Midwest Tribal Energy Resources Association. The University of Wisconsin in Madison is extending its free bachelor's degrees for many education students for another 2 years. The Wisconsin Teacher Pledge is paid for with private donations. It covers the cost of college for students who promise to stay in Wisconsin and teach school after they graduate. Nearly 800 people have gone through the program since it started in 2020. Vice President Kamala Harris says she came to Wisconsin Monday to remind voters that Donald Trump appointed 3 of the U.S. Supreme Court justices who helped overturn Roe.
When we think about what is at stake, it is absolutely about freedom.
President Biden's team is shoring up the base in a state where 48,000 Democrats cast uninstructed protest votes in April. Governor Evers calls Donald Trump's criticisms of Megan Wolf lies and irrational. Wisconsin's top election official got increased security after recent threats. Evers says if it keeps up, he might get the state Justice Department involved. Trump and his supporters accuse Wolf of orchestrating election fraud, even though they've produced no proof. Women running for office are on high alert for political violence this year. Threats not only pose a physical risk, they're putting women candidates at a financial disadvantage.
We see women candidates and incumbents right now having to pay for security, right? Having to put in their budgets and their campaign funds and their line items, for their campaigns, a security detail.
Erin Velarde is with the group Vote, Run, Lead. She's urging party leaders to speak out against political violence. The man accused of killing and mutilating a 19-year-old college student in Milwaukee is pleading not guilty. Maxwell Anderson was in court Monday. He's charged in the death of Sharday Robinson. Her severed remains have been turning up around Milwaukee County since after police say the two went on a date on April 1st. I'm Terry Bell, Civic Media News. Now here's what you need to know closer to home.
For WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Interstate 41 through Grand Chute will be closed at night all this week. All north and southbound lanes between Richmond Street and Wisconsin Avenue will close tonight through Friday from 11 p.m. to 4:30 a.m. each day. Additionally, northbound lanes on I-41 in Appleton between the College Avenue off and on ramp will be closed from 9 p.m. tonight until 5 a.m. tomorrow. Small business owner Andy Rich announces her candidacy for the 12th Senate District. Rich of Marinette says safe drinking water is one of the priorities of her campaign. She says while regulations are being made to keep PFAS out of municipal water supplies, people in rural areas still need a voice.
But so many residents here need help and have poison coming out of their taps because they're hooked up to well water. So I would like to put together something more comprehensive that will help everybody in the state, not just people that have municipal water.
The 12th Senate District covers a wide section of Wisconsin from Rhinelander to Marinette and includes much of the North Woods. 15-year-old Frederick Love Kennedy of Green Bay is charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide following a shooting on Green Bay's east side that caused school lockdowns for Preble High and Dance Elementary Friday afternoon. According to a criminal complaint, Love Kennedy and another male fought twice before the shooting happened. The 16-year-old victim had non-life-threatening injuries. Love Kennedy is being held on a $100,000 bond. April is Autism Acceptance Month. Organizations like the Autism Society for Greater Wisconsin work to provide awareness, but more importantly, acceptance for those with autism throughout this month. Katie Hess is their executive director.
So many people are aware of autism. They've heard the word at least before. They have a general understanding of what it means. And so now what we're trying to do is move our communities towards acceptance. It's really teaching the public how to interact with people with autism and recognize people with autism so that they have a more sense of belonging into the community.
The CDC says about 1 in 36 children has been identified with autism spectrum disorder. And while a diagnosis can be overwhelming, Hess says her organization is there to help. Visit autismsocietygreaterwi.org. Katrina Bauer, the mother of missing 3-year-old Elijah Vu, is asking for her bail to be reduced from $15,000 cash bond to a signature bond. Her attorney filed a motion in Manitowoc County Circuit Court to allow her to be released on her own recognizance. Bauer was arrested on felony child neglect charges in February. No one has been charged with Elijah's disappearance. Despite what some conservationists are saying, lake sturgeon do not need protections under the Endangered Species Act, according to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They say stocking and other programs such as habitat restoration have helped the populations of the prehistoric fish return to acceptable levels. The ruling will allow states to continue managing sturgeon and their harvesting efforts. BB Rexa will perform a free concert in Green Bay on June 1st. The pop singer-songwriter is the scheduled headliner for Titletown District's Summer Fun Day Showcase. The event starts at 3 p.m. with musical performances, arts and crafts, and interactive games. Rexa will perform at 8:30 that night. No tickets will be required. More information will be released in the coming weeks at Titletown.com. And that's what you need to know. I'm Lisa Hale, WGBW News.
The Brewers let one slip away. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball, the Brewers losing in Pittsburgh 4-2. The Brewers starter Joe Ross had pitched to 79 pitches, holding the Pirates to 1 run, but manager Pat Murphy pulled him in the 6th inning. Murphy asked, should he have kept him in a little longer?
No. It's always what's best for the pitcher. Squeezing more out of somebody this early in the season isn't what we like to do.
The Brewers starters have pitched the fewest amount of innings so far this year in Major League Baseball. Game 2 between the Bucks and the Pacers in Milwaukee. The Pacers trying to figure out how they lost Game 1 Sunday night. I spoke to forward Pascal Siakam.
Obviously, we see what, was thrown at us, and we go and learn from it in terms of just like rotations and different things like that, but also mentally, it's just like they played harder than us in the first half. So, and I think it was clear as day. When we came back in the second half, I thought it was a lot better.
The Bucks' Bobby Portis on winning Game 1 without Giannis.
Knowing our situation we're in, obviously we have one of the best players in the world who's not playing, so it was big for other guys to step up. The biggest thing in the playoffs is just winning the game, no matter how it is, if it's a street fight, if it's an ugly game, is you're hitting 23, however it gets done. The main thing is just to win. Come back tomorrow, correct some things, and then get back at it on Tuesday.
College basketball, one of the best players in UW Green Bay history, is returning to coach. The Press-Gazette says that Kayla Techlog will be named the women's team's next head coach. The now 35-year-old Kayla Carius has been the women's head coach at South Dakota. The NFL draft is this Thursday night. Brian Gutekunst asked if the draft board is ready yet in the Packers' war room.
Really, through this past weekend, we kind of got to a point where we feel really good about where it's at. We'll probably have one more meeting this evening and lock it up really till Thursday.
That's Packers General Manager Brian Gutekunst. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
A little sunshine this morning, then gradually becoming mostly cloudy with an isolated shower or thunder shower possible by mid to late afternoon today. Our high 65, the wind out of the west at 15 to 25. Tonight, clear 32. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and cooler with a high near 50. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Right now, it's 57.
That's your WGBW Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at WGBW.FM.